Hmm. This isn't very good. Hopefully that drive doesn't decide that it's going to fail now during the holidays, because it's one of the few drives that I don't actually have a replacement for. And the only spare IDE drive that I had, because I had two, I had the 40 gigabyte and I had the 80 gigabyte. This is the 80 gigabyte, and the 40 I actually stuck in that NEC over there. So, yeah. The other problem too is I don't even know if I would be able to get that thing out of there, because that's a pain in the butt to work with. So I'm getting ready to do some drive swaps here. This machine's not really going to be involved in it. I just want to image this because, well, as you may or may not have seen at the beginning of this video, or at the end of this video, or in some other video, I don't know yet, you may have noticed that this drive has now got more pending or more reallocation events on it, which could indicate that maybe it's getting ready to, or could fail at some point in the near future. And I figure, well, I'm not going to replace the drive just yet. I'm not really, well, I'll look for a replacement and I'll get a replacement in soon, but I won't replace this drive until it actually does fail. Or if the drive that I get is higher performance than this drive, then I'll replace it. But the drive still works. And it's still booting, and it's still running, and it will do all that, so I don't really care that much. I don't use this machine very much anyway. But I figure I might as well hedge my bets and back it up using this program, actually, which is called Macrium Reflect. It's free, as you can probably see. And it's one of the very few programs that is free that actually works. Previously, I was using Easus to do a backup for this, but I found that they changed their feature set for their free program, and you can't do a darned thing in it anymore. So that pretty much ruins that. So what am I actually going to be doing in this video? Well, this 100 gigabyte drive right here, I'm going to test the health of it. I have no idea what the health status of that drive is. This one I'm going to test as well, but I think that this is the drive that I pulled out of the T61, and this drive is dead. If that's the case, I'm going to wipe it, but I'm probably going to keep it around because it does still work. I could use it as a test drive. And take that other 100 gigabyte that I have up there that I was using as a test drive, and, well, you get the idea. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sacrifice any space. Actually, I'm not going to be using that drive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the drive that's in there, the 7200 RPM Seagate that's in there, throw it in here, clone the data that's on this drive right now, and put it on that 7200 RPM drive. And for that machine, I'm going to put in this. Actually, you know what? I don't think I'll do that. I think I will use the 100 gigabyte drive because I got it out here, so I might as well actually use it if it works. If it's not a good drive, then I'm not going to bother. But I have a feeling that it will work for the purpose, because that thing I really also don't use. It just sits there and runs. So hopefully this is going to go by well. But I don't know. We'll see. Probably going to take another half an hour, so I'll come back once that's done. And actually, I'll come back once even that one's done, because I'm going to do the same thing with that. And as you can see, there's actually a lot less space that's used on this one than there is on this one. So, let's get that done. You know what? I think you are in here every single time that I make a video. Anyway, so what I actually just did is I burned myself a new H.2 disc. Because initially, I couldn't find my Ultimate Boot CD. But of course, I found the stupid thing. And my H.2 disc is at work, so I can't go get that until the new year. But since I couldn't find my Ultimate Boot CD, I just burned myself a new H.2 disc. And this is actually a new version of H.2, so we'll see how well this works. Or not. Both drives should, at least in theory, show an error. Alright. That one doesn't seem to, actually. So, we do get an error on that drive. Smart menu. Oh, it's detecting it as a SCSI drive, so I guess that's not going to help me. I can't look at the smart data because it won't let me. That's just for self-test stuff. Anyway, okay, whatever. I'm going to deem this drive safe, and I'm going to shut this down. Shit, yeah, no, I still do need 2 hands to turn off numlock. It's worse than needing 2 hands to do a print screen. No, it looks like it's going to just do the same thing. Yeah, so, anyway, whatever. Doesn't really matter to me. Let's start changing drives out, shall we? You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to image this drive. Because that's going to need to be done first. Since, as far as I know, Reflect is not bootable, so... I suppose you could probably create a boot disk with Reflect on it, but... I don't know. It's not directly bootable, and I didn't create a boot disk, so we're just going to do it this way. Browse for an image. There should be an image on the desktop. The AO532H image. Alright. Restore image. Select a disk. Select this disk. The last partition has been shrunk to fit. Replace with master boot record from the backup. That's what I want to do. Finish. Continue. I don't care. The E drive needs to be overwritten anyway. Alright, so now that cloning process should begin. I've done this so many times because I'm right now, or at least before the holidays at work, I was loading up T61s and T400s with images. Yeah, so that took about 15 minutes. So now that should actually have the, everything there like it's supposed to. Yep, that looks pretty good. Alright, so now we can take that out, which you now can't see anymore. Take that out, put it in the machine that's sitting over there. So I'm going to have to get that machine out of there. I'm also going to turn some lights on, because oh boy, is it ever dark in here. There's the one thing that I dislike about winter. It's the fact that it gets dark very soon, because of daylight non-savings time. Eventually it should actually get brighter in here as those lights warm up. But let's go ahead and eject this disk the right way. Alright. Let's get that out of there. Put that right there for now. And shut this machine down for the second time in 4 days. You know, this thing used to have a lot of uptime. I don't know what happened to that, but I guess it doesn't have it anymore. This might be a slightly familiar sight for some of you. The backside of the 532H. But I'm going to get a cloth so I don't scratch up the back of it, just, well, any worse than it already is. So I'm going to have to get my cloth, which should be over here somewhere. I don't know, I cleaned this place up, so I might not be able to find it. Ah, there it is. All right. Okay. Got it. It's actually a brand new cloth, too, so... Yeah, this is more difficult. I need 2 hands to do this. This is actually supposed to be like a drying towel, like for when you're working out or whatever, but I'm using it for computer upgrade purposes. All of the screws are missing. That's interesting. I thought I put them all back in there. I'm also going to probably upgrade the memory while I'm at it. And I might as well. Let me go get my RAM modules and we'll come back here. The module that I just pulled out is a 2 gigabyte module, I know that. But there's no markings on it at all. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the original module from this machine back in there, the 1 gigabyte. Since the only thing this thing does, well, it doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot, so it doesn't need the 2 gigabytes. And I figured I'd put a name brand module in there because that would make my life easier. But now let's get back to what I wanted to do, and that's replace this hard drive. This is my 7200.4 drive. And this will be going into the Compaq. And the drive that's in the Compaq will become yet another spare. So let me unscrew all the screws in the side of this, and we'll put it all back together with the new drive. Right, it's now in. And as it turns out, there actually were only 2 screws in this caddy. I dug up another one, really stripped out one, that came out of my T42. So actually, I'd assume that all my drive screws are in that T42 because most of those screws in that machine were stripped out when I got it, so I just replaced them with whatever I had laying around. So let's put this drive in. Carefully. I think that's inserted. We'll put the lids back on. Maybe I'll find screws for the lids, maybe I won't. In fact, let me go see if I can find any screws for this thing. Of course, I know it wants to be a pain and not go on there. There we go. I got it. I put fingerprints all over it too. That annoys me about these glossy machines, is the fact that you put... When you try to take them apart and do any kind of maintenance on them, you put fingerprints all over them. Guess it goes in there first. Okay. So let me see, do I have any screws that would work in that? So normally I would say do not do this, but looks like they work. So I can find 4 of those and have all my screws back. Of course, the focus is focusing in on this end of the machine and not what I want it to focus on. And yes, somebody did rip the Windows 7 COA on this machine. It's been like that forever. Or at least for as long as I've had it. Alright, now we can flip this thing back over and test it out. See if it works. Gonna have to use 2 hands to open it as well. Alright, now here's the good part. The glossy display. So, which means you're gonna be able to see me. Well, not really. I mean, if I move the display down a little bit, you would. But, I guess it doesn't really matter. That's actually pretty, that's much better. Let's power it up. See if it works. It should. I don't know why it wouldn't. Looks like it's booting. It is very definitely booting. Oh wow, that was actually much faster than it was before. Or maybe not. Oh, here we go. Okay. So let's shut it back down. And put it back over there, start it up, and get it all ready to go. And then we should be completely ready to move on to the next machine, which is going to be much easier, I think. Alright, so now it's back where it needs to be, and we've gained an LED. So the battery's going to charge now. I don't understand it, but what happens is Windows decides it's going to stop charging the battery, or the machine decides it's going to stop charging the battery, and that it's going to just operate off of, well, AC, but the battery discharges as well. And I actually really don't understand that. But it does it, so, you know, whatever. I'm actually thinking about replacing this with another machine that would be much more appropriate for this job and not like a netbook, which can be used for other purposes, such as being a portable computer. Yes, you're being pet. You're not very happy that there's a laptop there, are you? Well, it'll move soon enough. I'm going to have to get that all out of the way first, though. Right, so let's log in here. Oh, I slipped. I'm going to have to enter it all over again. So that should work a lot better than it did before. And when it boots, we should see our desktop and our program start, or the program that I use for this thing. You must restart your computer to apply these changes. Well, the program I wanted started, but I guess we're gonna have to reboot the computer now that we started it up. Gotta love Windows and driver installs. Alright, I believe that everything is now the way it should be. I don't know why this doesn't maximize automatically. It's supposed to, but I guess it doesn't. We're going to go ahead and switch the two drives around. And actually, I want to test that drive beforehand. And I want to test my other drives, and I want to check for issues. Alright, the drive that's in there right now is very definitely from the ThinkPad. As we can see, it's pretty much toast. Doesn't even have 10,000 hours on it. It's pretty close. So you can see it's pretty close. But this is a bad drive. Anyways, on with it. I'm going to replace that drive now. Alright, looks like it's complete. So we can restart. So we'll remove this disc. Close this tray. Or we won't close this tray. There we go. Make sure that we're going to boot from the 423 AS drive. Grub loading. Is it going to boot? Looks like it might boot. Looks like it's working anyway. I never really did understand why X took so long to actually start up after you're finished booting. It's actually really annoying, to be perfectly honest with you, because Windows starts the GUI almost immediately, but with Linux you have to wait for, I don't even know how long this has been taking, but it's still not loaded. We got a startup sound. There we go. Disconnected. You are now offline. Thank you for telling me, I guess. Wi-Fi is disabled by hardware switch. Well, let's turn it on. Now we're loading. Okay. Or not. Anyway, I think that's a pretty good indication that things have worked. And that's really going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666. And the cat, as always, signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then.